Have you ever heard the claim that African Americans could not eat vanilla ice cream except on Independence Day? Well, today we're going to talk about it. And if you like stories like this, you want to hear more stories like this, you can do so at onemichistory.com. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on my Buy Me Coffee on Patreon page in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Jim Crow laws enforced a racial segregation in the American South from the 1890s to the 1960s. Named after Thomas Rice and his minstrel character, Jim Crow Rice, these laws were designed to maintain racial hierarchy, and the laws covered every aspect of Black life, from voting rights to public transportation, and were strategically designed to marginalize African Americans. The insidious impact of the system extended beyond legal restrictions, seeping into social norms and customs that enforced a rigid racial hierarchy. One particular instance of Jim Crow's absurdity was the claim that Black people were prohibited from eating vanilla ice cream except on Independence Day. While there is no direct evidence refuting or confirming this claim, that's because there was no laws or ordinances that expressly banned African Americans from consuming ice cream. This claim seems to have emerged from the societal arena, where riddled with prejudice and unspoken practices. To understand this concept, it's crucial to delve into the idea of Jim Crow laws and how they were formulated and implemented. Jim Crow came in two forms: laws and etiquette. Southern states instituted a rigid system of segregation laws that limited access to public facilities, businesses, transportation, and even leisure activities. But etiquette was unwritten rules that dictated how African Americans should perform in white society. This varied from person to person, but some common norms was not being allowed to handshake a white male or display any friendly gesture to a white woman, avoid eating with whites, and if by chance they found themselves eating together, whites were to be served first. For example, in the book Behind the Backlash, White Working Class Politics in Baltimore, 1940 to 1880 by Kenneth Dunn, Dunn mentions that segregated dining was the norm and asserted that Black people could not eat vanilla ice cream in the presence of white people except on July 4th, when everyone could eat anything. Another example is Maya Angelou's biography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Maya Angelou shares that people in her hometown believed that white people were so biased against Black people that they couldn't even buy vanilla ice cream except on July 4th. Additionally, ice cream parlors were a social hub for white Southerners and typically off limits to Blacks. If they were served at all, they were relegated to a separate window and prohibited from eating on the premises. What the specific role that vanilla ice cream played in all of these customs seems to be a bit ambiguous. Perhaps the consumption of the popular flavor was merely seen as a privilege reserved for whites. Arguably, the restriction of vanilla ice cream could serve as a clear boundary between Blacks and whites and remind them of their secondary status. Vanilla ice cream seemed to have served as a metaphor of showcasing the unnerving realities of Jim Crow. And in light of this bias, African American community seems to have gravitated more towards butter pecan ice cream. Roasted peanuts were a favorite of Native American communities long before they were incorporated into desserts, but credit for popularizing butter pecan as a culinary delicacy goes to Black Southerners who were known to integrate pecans into traditional dishes, suggesting the familiarity and preference for the ingredient. During segregation years, pecans became an integral part of African American cuisine, especially in New Orleans. The city's cuisine was famous for their pecans, which was tossed with butter and brown sugar before being cast into many different culinary delights. This ultimately led to the introduction into ice cream as a way to implement more ice cream flavors. As African Americans produced, churned, and sold butter pecan through neighborhood parlors, this fostered a sense of community and shared identity and economic independence in these segregated spaces. Basketball player Shaquille O'Neal recounted in his 2001 autobiography, Shaq Talks Back, that his father scolded him for wanting vanilla ice cream and insisting that they only ate butter pecan. Celebrity chef Gerby Garvin recalled that butter pecan ice cream became a regular part of his family's tradition, and former NFL player Albert Haynesworth recalled that butter pecan was the flavor of Black people. In the end, the Jim Crow laws and resulting racial etiquettes created a severe societal divide in the southern United States. And even when the context of something as simple as just consuming ice cream, while there's no actual law that prevented African Americans eating vanilla ice cream, there are enough personal stories that indicate that this etiquette practice did exist, at least in some forms, in the southern United States. And the rise of butter pecan as the African American flavor of choice exemplifies our resiliency in the face of adversity. And it's a testament how African Americans continue to communicate their culture through our foods. Thank you. This has been One Mic. I'm your host, Country Boy. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at OneMicHistory.com. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on my Buy Me Coffee on Patreon page in the description below. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and support the YouTube channel.